Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your CFL Football preview and predictions for week number 4 of the Canadian Football League. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are using a mobile device. Today's podcast is brought to you by the World Series of Handicapping Pro Football Contest, season number 10. That's right, we're going into season number 10, and it's a $25 entry. All you got to do is make 7 selections a week, sides or totals. Rate those selections 7 units to 1 unit, and the player with the most amount of units at the end of the season will win the Baron Championship ring, $1,500 in cash, and if you go 7-0 anytime during the contest, you will win $50 in cash courtesy of the World Series of Handicapping. All right, I can't believe it's already week number 4 of the Canadian Football League, and as you can see here, the straight-up record, favorites on the season, not having a really good, year so far. The favorites on the year, 4 wins, 8 losses. For the over-unders, if you've been betting the under in the Canadian Football League, you're smiling like a butcher's dog because the under is 9-3-0 to the under, and against the point spread, it's also 9-3 against the number. So looking into week number 4, the books are going to make their adjustments, so start looking at overs and favorites, and I think week number 4 is what I'm going to be looking at. All right, let's go to the game between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Montreal Alouettes. Now, the game between Toronto and Edmonton been postponed because of COVID protocols for the Edmonton Elks. So we're going to go right to the Friday night game between the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now, the Tiger Cats not coming out of the gate really fast. They're 0-2, and I think they're going to have a little bit of a quarterback controversy on their hand going into their 3rd game of the year. Jeremiah Masoli is the starting quarterback. We think Dane Evans might get the starting assignment. We don't know what Coach Steinauer is thinking, but we'll see here for Montreal. Now, Montreal losing last week in Calgary. In fact, the final score of that game was 28-22. What really hurt Montreal was the penalties. In fact, they had, 16 penalties for over 149 yards. And listening to Coach Gary Jones after his press conference, that's not how he wants his team to be a reputation of having, right? You can't, and I think that what happened to Montreal, they got sidetracked, especially with those 8 penalties on defense. And anytime you get penalties, there's a spiraling effect. There's negative connotation that comes with that in the group psyche, and I think that's what happened this last weekend in Calgary. And you let a rookie quarterback beat you if you're Montreal, and you can't let that happen. And Calgary, the only thing going with Calgary these days was the running game with Kadeem Carey. And he's have 185 yards on 43 carries in the season. But Montreal's got a good running back in William Stanback, who's got 194 yards on 33 carries this week. And now the bookmakers here, anywhere you look, you see it's a pick'em to a -1 favorite for Montreal. And if it's a pick'em, then its money line is 110. Based on 9 games in the computer-based system here at ATS STATS, we do like Hamilton to get their first win of the season, 23.8, 21.6 for the Montreal Alouettes. The over-under set at 45.51, so it does like it to go over the total. Now, again, Hamilton, we all know what they're about, and in fact, at the beginning of the year, the preseason standings or the futures, a lot of people thought Hamilton would be the team coming out of the East, but nobody saw an 0-2 start. And Montreal just picking up where they left off last year. Gary Jones really turned this organization around last season, and they looked pretty good the last couple of weeks except for that second half last week in Calgary. My line on the game, I had Montreal at -2.75, but I also had the Hamilton Tiger Cats at +8.75. But because Hamilton doesn't have 3 games in the system, neither does Montreal, those value edges don't come into effect this week. The chances of winning the cow here, the percentage play does favor Montreal at 78.9 compared to 33% for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Again, in order for all these percentage play and the value to come in effect on the Raymond Report, there has to be 3 games in the system. But I do think going into this weekend, when you look at the offense for Montreal, you got Vernon Adams Jr. Looking pretty good. They go vertical a lot. You got a good running game. The defense is a bit suspect right now, and when you look at Hamilton, you got a good defense. The offense just needs to get going, right? You got to get the ball Banks and somehow, but you also got to establish a running game. Right now, the problem with Hamilton is they don't have a running game. Now, when it comes to the side, I don't like any of the sides in this game here today. I do like the over. I think the over is where you want to go, and I think it's because the bookmakers have made a bit of an adjustment. You're starting to see the lines go a little bit lower. Canadian Football League totals, we're used to seeing 52, 55, and anytime you see 45, it's because of the COVID situation. Players are not in shape. The timing is off. It's week number 4. These teams have only played 2 games, and I think that's what's, they're not gelling right now on offense. And from a defense point of view, I think Hamilton has the better unit in this respect. But again, 0-2 to start the season. I'm not going to touch the sides in this game. It could go either way, right? It all depends who starts for Hamilton. Jeremy Masoli is a good quarterback. Dane Evans might get his shot here today. And when Hamilton travels to Montreal in their last 10 games, they are 5-5 straight up, 6-4 against the number. And for the Alouettes facing the Tiger Cats, they haven't had much success in their last 10 head-to-head matches. So at Tim Hortons Field or at Molson Stadium or whatever they're calling that stadium these days. I still call it Molson Stadium, Percyville Stadium. I think it's called that. Anyways, I think it's Molson Stadium. I'll just call it Molson Stadium. 3-7 straight up, 4-6 against the spread, and 6-4 to the over. So you can see a lot of games, 6% of the games have gone over between Montreal and Hamilton. And Hamilton's got Toronto on deck, and I think that's the Labor Day Classic. And then you got Montreal taking on the Ottawa Redblacks in Ottawa in their next contest. Now, looking at some of the numbers down here, a lot of numbers pointing under, but I got a few going over the total here. Look at this. When Hamilton's on the road against an Eastern Division opponent, the last 3 seasons, so because of the COVID season, so basically the last 2, 70% of those games have gone over the total. And for the Montreal Alouettes, a lot of unders right here. But I got a feeling because of the total. In fact, what is the total in this game? The total is 45.5. And anytime home teams in the CFL the last 3 years have seen a total of 44.5 to 47. 7-12 to the under, but that's not going to scare me off this. I do like this total to go over the total. We just need Hamilton to pick it up on offense. They're going to do their part. When you think of a total of 45.5, you just need both teams to score about 23 points each, right? And that should take it over the total. All right, let's go to BC against the Ottawa Redblacks. And you got the Lions coming off a loss last week to the Edmonton Elks. In fact, it gave Edmonton their first win of the season. And BC now 1-2 on the year. Ottawa 1-1. And what's the problem with the Ottawa? It's like Hamilton. They got no identity on offense. And the BC Lions got Mike Riley at quarterback. In fact, when I look at his numbers, percentage-wise, his completion percentage, 71.6% completion efficiency. Really good. Ottawa's been sacked 11 times this year. So the O-line's an issue. The whole offense is an issue, let's be honest, for the Ottawa Redblacks. They got to start finding an identity on offense. And looking at the numbers here, the computer pick is going to go with the BC Lions, 23.8 to 21.6. The over-under here is set at 45.51. I do like BC in this game, but again, I've only really liked one play this week, and I'm going to get to it in just 1 second. But looking at, again, this game here, let's go to my ATS calculator. BC against Ottawa. Let's take a look at what the computer says here, the calculator. It does like BC at 6.06, the total at 33.01. So it does like the Lions to win by 6 points. And again, when you look at this BC Lions offense, they can put the ball in the air. They got great weapons in Burnham, Lucky Whitehead. So, BC's got all the weapons. They just got to do a better job of being more consistent. And Mike Riley, let's hope his elbow's okay. That's been the question mark the first 3 weeks. And, I think BC, the consistency has to be the name of the game for the Lions and for the Ottawa Redblacks. They got the defense to stop any team. Like, look who they face, right? They face Edmonton and they face Saskatchewan last week. They held Edmonton. That's a good offense to 12 points. They allowed Saskatchewan 23, but they only scored 10, right? So I do like the BC Lions in this one here on Saturday, but we'll see if Ottawa's going to get their act together on offense. I'm not going to touch this game. It's just because in order when you're handicapping the game, especially in the total, you need to have a good consistency of the two units of the offense and defense. And right now, it's only Ottawa's defense that you can really depend on. We just don't know what we're going to get right now with the Ottawa offense. So that's why I'm going to take BC -2. I probably play them on the money line, right? If you're going to spend the extra $20-$40, take the money line, take the BC Lions. And the last game of the week, Calgary taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And Jake Maier started last week here for the Calgary Stampeders. We all thought Michael O'Connor was going to get the nod, but you know what? The young rookie did pretty good. In fact, let me pull up some of his numbers last week in his victory against Montreal. And when I'm looking at, let me see right here, Jake Maier. So Jake went, let me see here, 16 for 29. 55.2%. That's not going to cut it against a good, probably the best defense in the league, who lost last week to the Toronto Argonauts. The Argonauts got the revenge on Winnipeg. But Jake Maier, he threw for over 304 yards. Winnipeg, one of the best teams at home the last couple of years as a favorite. In fact, when you look at their home record the last couple of years, look at that, 13-4 against the spread the last 3 years. I don't see how they're going to score on this Winnipeg defense. Jefferson, man, you look at this defense, I can name you about 10 names. This is an all-star defense. And, you got a rookie quarterback coming into Winnipeg, but you're coming off a win, an impressive win, but it's going to be tough for the young Jake Maier to go into Winnipeg, get that victory. And that's why they're going to have to really rely a lot on Kadeem Carey, who's got 185 yards. The only running back that's better than Kadeem Carey is James Wilder in Winnipeg. In fact, what did Wilder on the season? I think he has close to 190 some yards. Let me take a look at his stats. Rushing the football. Bring up the old rushing stats right here. And there's James Wilder, 301 yards. Wow. William Stanback's got 194. And there's Kadeem Carey, the third leading rusher in the CFL at 185 yards. And you know what? I'm still not sold on this Calgary receiving corps just yet. I don't think they have the dynamic weapons that they're used to having. And you look at Winnipeg, they got a good quarterback in Caleros, and you got some good, Darvin Adams is back now with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, if Harris ever comes back, you got Oliveira right there. So the weapons on offense are there for Winnipeg. But I'm going to lay the 5, and I'm going to look at a the computer pick here has 21.7 to 19.5, but I think I'm looking more of a 30-10, 30-12 type victory here this weekend in Winnipeg, and that's why Winnipeg will probably be one of my top plays this weekend in the Canadian Football League. All right, there you have it. That is my CFL report week number 4 of the Canadian Football League. Folks, if you're interested in the Raymond Report and you want to get a matchup report on every game in the CFL, NFL, college football, you can get it and get 20% off your next membership package right now. Use promo code FB21. That's F as in Foxtrot, B as in Bravo, 21, and get 20% off your next membership package right here at ATSStats.com. Cheers.